Today's NFL Daily video is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Use code CHAT for 20% off plus free shipping right now when you go to manscaped.com/chat. And welcome into NFL Daily. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be talking about Mel Kiper Jr., the godfather of the NFL draft himself, where he has put out a top 10 list of the best performers at the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine. Workouts happened last week, so lots of great stuff, lots of great prospects to talk about today. But before we get into it, don't miss out on all of our great NFL draft content right here for free from Chat Sports. We have you guys covered with daily videos breaking down the latest news and rumors surrounding the 2024 NFL Draft and all the top prospects. So do me a favor right now, click that subscribe button and join our family. Let's get to the first player that Mel Kiper Jr. talks about in this article, which is running back from the Tennessee Volunteers, Jaylen Wright, currently ranked 82nd by the Pro Football Focus Big Board. This is what Mel has to say about Wright. All Wright did was run a lightning-quick 4.38 40-yard dash, which ranks second at his position, and put up an 11'2" broad jump, which was best among the running backs. Plus, his 38-inch vertical leap was in the top 5. Those are stellar numbers, particularly with Esteem running a disappointing 4.7140. Esteem is the running back from Notre Dame. Wright rushed for 1,013 yards on just 137 carries last year and is now firmly in the mix to be the top back taken off the board in April's draft. I have a third-round grade on him. So talking about Jaylen Wright here, I really like him as a player, very violent runner. And as he showed with that 40 time in Indianapolis this past weekend, the guy can straight up fly. He's a little bit of a bigger running back as well. I still think I have Trey Benson out of Florida State above Jaylen Wright in terms of my rankings, but you can't go wrong with Wright. He is one hell of a prospect. Now, let me know. Get up down there in the comment section. Who impressed you the most at the NFL Combine last week? I think I'm going to see lots of Xavier Worthy's in there because he broke the damn record for the 40 time in the NFL Combine's history. So let me know down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time, but let me know who you think had the best performance in Indianapolis. Then we continue on here with Mel Kiper Jr.'s Combine winners, and we're going to go to inside linebacker from Texas A&M. Edrin Cooper, Pro Football Focus, currently has him ranked around in the second round kind of area here, and this is what Kiper has to say about the Aggie linebacker. I love long arms for linebackers, and Cooper's are 34 inches, which is a great number. His 4.51 second 40-yard dash ranked third among all linebackers in Indianapolis, and his 34.5-inch vertical jump tied for 7th at the position. On tape, Cooper shows stellar range and flies to the football. He had 14 tackles for loss last season. These testing numbers matched up with the tape, which is exactly what I wanted to see. He's a little bit light, but he'll grow into his frame in the NFL and become an every down defender. And I completely agree with Mel here that Edrin Cooper is one of, if not the best inside linebacker prospect in this year's NFL Draft. Super long arms, and he's actually really good in coverage, which kind of separates him from the rest of the crowd, in my opinion. He's not really going to provide much for you in terms of blitzing or anything like that. He's got some faults to his game in terms of being a run defender, but he's great in pass coverage. He's athletic as all get out, and he showed that in Indianapolis this past weekend. Then we get to number 3 on Mel's list here, Jaylen Simpson, safety out of Auburn. Now, this guy he considers as a riser, as Pro Football Focus currently has him ranked at 180th on their big board. Mel Kiper Jr. had this to say about the Auburn safety. Simpson's versatility will stand out to NFL teams. He played 431 coverage snaps at safety and 202 coverage snaps at cornerback over the past 2 seasons, allowing just 1 touchdown as the nearest defender. And while teams want their safeties to be closer to 200 pounds, I think Simpson will find a starting job as a deep safety / nickel cornerback hybrid player. He impressed with a 4.45 40-yard dash, 39.5-inch vertical, and 11'1" broad jump, all of which ranked in the top 3 among safeties in Indy. He also has long 32 3/8-inch arms, which shows on tape in his ability to get his hands on passes. He had 4 picks last season. Simpson was my number 6 safety when I last did my rankings, but he could rise a couple of spots. I see him as a third-round pick in April. Now, Simpson is definitely undersized, so he's not going to be able to play in the box, but he did show off the quicks. He's athletic as all get out. He has experience playing in the slot and playing in the deep middle as well. So he's definitely got the ability to play safety or nickel in the National Football League, and he did have a really good performance, so I do think that he could be a riser up many big boards. Now, coming up here, we got more Combine winners from Mel Kiper Jr. coming up here in just a second. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Manscaped. This NFL Daily video is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions at Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and your drapes with the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and watch your confidence bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season, enjoy the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our special offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code CHAT for $20% off plus free shipping. If you hate making a mess, not to worry, this bad boy is waterproof. Shave in the shower, in the bath, or even in the ocean if you want to. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CHAT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CHAT at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show. Then we get to a wide receiver here for Mel Kiper Jr. Listen, it's not Xavier Worthy. It is Brian Thomas Jr., the deep threat from the LSU Tigers. Right now, Pro Football Focus does put him inside the top 32, and he is expected to be a first-round pick come April's draft. This is what Mel had to say about Thomas's performance in Indy. Yes, Worthy set the combine record with a 4.21 second 40-yard dash, and his 10-yard split came in at 1.49 seconds. Thomas ran a little bit slower, 4.33, which ranks second among receivers in Indy, but his 10-yard split was barely behind Worthy at 1.5 seconds, and Thomas did that 4 inches taller and 44 pounds heavier than Worthy. He's explosive off the line of scrimmage. It might seem strange to say for a wideout who led the FBS with 17 touchdown catches last season, but Thomas is just scratching the surface of his talent. In a loaded receiver class, don't count him out being a future number 1 wide receiver. Now, for me, guys, when I talk about Brian Thomas Jr., I'm probably talking about the number 4 wide receiver on my personal big board heading into this year, and that's only behind guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors, who I consider to be blue chip prospects. I think Brian Thomas Jr., super explosive off the line of scrimmage, great deep threat. And he's got good size too. 4.33 at his size is seriously impressive. And if he gets outside of the first round, good Lord, somebody is going to get a steal on him. Then we get to the running back position here with Jaylen Laube out of New Hampshire. Right now, Pro Football Focus ranks him 159th on their big board. This is what Mel has to say about the New Hampshire running back. Laube has one of the most interesting stat lines of any prospect in this class. He rushed 158 times for 715 yards and 9 touchdowns and caught 68 passes for 699 yards and 7 scores last year. Add to that the 647 return yards and 2 more TDs, and you get one extremely productive under-the-radar back. I didn't really know what to make of his tape because of the competition he faced, which is why his workout was so important. With a 4.54 40 and 37-inch vertical, Laube showed that he can compete with the best of the best. His 4.02 second shuttle was the second among running backs who did the drill, 9 total. He made himself a roster with his workout, likely moving into round 6 or 7 territory. His skill set will be intriguing for teams on day 3, and even if he maxes out as a third down back and core special teamer. Now, Laube is definitely not at the top of my running back big board this year. I do think that he does bring versatility that teams on day 3 are going to covet, and he did have himself a very good workout, and I definitely think he's going to get drafted eventually at this point. I don't think he's going to be a UDFA. So now, before we get to the rest of today's list, make sure you guys, if you're enjoying yourself today and you're enjoying the video, help us out here at Chat Sports by clicking that thumbs up icon. We really do appreciate it. It tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to more NFL draft fans like yourself. So if you want to take a second here and click that thumbs up icon, I would greatly appreciate it. Now let's get to another cornerback here that Mel decides to put on this list here. And let's talk about Max Melton out of Rutgers, currently ranked 112th on the Pro Football Focus big board. This is what Kiper has to say about the corner from Rutgers. The 2024 corner class is really strong from top to bottom, and I wouldn't be surprised if Melton worked himself into round 2 with his performance on Friday. I wasn't sure how fast he'd run in the 40, but his 4.39 was electric. He shows good recovery ability on tape too. He also had one of the best broad jumps of the corners, 11'4". Melton, who started 40 games in college and had 8 career interceptions, has a great blend of production and physical tools. And I agree with Mel Kiper Jr. here, 100%. Max Melton is definitely somebody that's going to be a prospective starter even right away in the National Football League. Good recovery speed. He's got good technique on film. I think he's somebody that the transition is going to be a little bit less for him. Right now I have a 3rd round grade on him just because there's so many good corners in this year's draft class. Then we get to a wide receiver here, Bub Means from the Pitt Panthers here, not ranked on the Pro Football Focus big board. So if Mel is right here, he is going to be a big-time riser here, and this is definitely considered to be the biggest riser on his list today. This is what he has to say about the Panther wideout. I'm intrigued by Means, who played cornerback at Tennessee early in his career before switching to offense for Louisiana Tech and then Pitt. He caught 68 passes for 1,122 yards and 8 TDs over the past 2 seasons, averaging 16.5 yards per reception. At the combine, he measured in with huge hands, long arms, and then ripped off a 4.43 40-yard dash and a 39.5-inch vertical. I had a round 4 grade on him coming into the week, but I want to study his tape. He has tremendous tools, even if he's still raw and developing. And the big word there that Kiper used is raw and developing, because that is what Bub Means is doing right now. He's still new to the position, but man, this guy is athletic as all get out. He's definitely going to be a project, which is why he might fall into the day 3 range instead of the day 2 range, but I definitely think that he's a project worth taking. Let's put it that way, because he's got these incredible athletic ability, and if he can develop into a really good and really nuanced wide receiver, he's going to be a damn good player in this league. Then we get to Brennan Jackson, the defensive end from Washington State, currently ranked 194th by the Pro Football Focus big board. This is what Kiper has to say about Jackson. I enjoyed Jackson's 2023 tape as he upped his sack total from 6 to 8.5. He's a tenacious player. Still, I had questions about his frame and ability to bend as an edge rusher. I got some of those questions answered as Jackson ran a 4.69 40 at 264 pounds, which is a great number for him. Now, I mean, here's my deal with this one, guys. I'm not really sure. I think Jackson had a good week, okay? I thought he had a good workout, all these different things, but to put him on a list of the top 10 top performers on this list, I just think it might be a little bit rich. I still have him as a day 3 type prospect. I don't think his workout in Indy really changed how I feel about Brennan Jackson as a prospect. So for me, I think this is a little bit of a weird addition by Kiper, at least in my opinion. Then we get to my favorite corner in this year's NFL draft class, my CB1, Quinyon Mitchell, currently ranked 12th on the Pro Football Focus big board. Absolutely showed out in Indy. This is what Kiper has to say about the Toledo corner. I just had Mitchell at number 17 to the Jaguars in my latest mock draft. So how can he possibly be on this list? It's because he might very well be the number 1 corner in the entire draft now. He checked every box in Indianapolis. He ran his 4.33 40, ranked 2nd among the corners, and he was 1st in the bench press. 20 reps of 225 pounds. Goodness gracious. He looked outstanding in the positional drills, showing off his elite ability to flip his hips and turn and run. Continues to say here, Mitchell was also one of the top performers at the Senior Bowl, and he has crushed the pre-draft process. It's time we start thinking about him as a potential top 10 pick, and I could not agree more with Mel Kiper Jr. I actually tweeted out right after he ran that 4.33, this sumbitch is going in the top 10 because that's where he belongs. That's where he deserves to go. He's got long arms, incredible recovery speed. He absolutely dominated every receiver at the Senior Bowl in press man coverage, which was really the only question he had on his Toledo film because Toledo doesn't run press man coverage. They just run off coverage. So he showed up at Mobile. He dominated there. He goes to the combine. He has arguably the best performance of any DB there. This guy deserves to be in the top 10, if not the top 15. And honestly, guys, look out for the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. In my latest mock draft, I have Mitchell going to Atlanta, number 8 overall. Now, let me know down there in the comment section, who do you think is the number 1 corner in this year's draft class? Quinyon Mitchell, type QM. Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, type NW. He also ran a really fast 40. Cooper DeJean, type CD. Or if you think it's somebody else, like a Terrion Arnold or a Kool-Aid McKinstry, somebody else, type O for me down there in the comment section. Then the last name we'll be talking about today on Kiper's list is Edrin Alosi. I hope I'm saying that right, my man. If you're watching this, I hope I'm not butchering your name, but Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the 262nd overall prospect. He's a linebacker from the Washington Huskies, and this is what Kiper has to say about his performance at the Combine. Alosi was a little bit of a late bloomer for the Huskies, as he had just 4 tackles for loss over his first 5 college seasons. In 2023, however, his 6th season at Washington, he started 15 games and had 7.5 tackles for loss and 94 total tackles. He's a little bit undersized, but he had one of the most impressive linebacker workouts. He ran a 4.56 40 and led the entire position in both vertical jump and broad jump. Those are the kinds of traits that could move him to a mid-day 3 pick. Now, Kiper kind of laid out some of the concerns people have with this linebacker out of Washington. He's a bit older and he's a bit undersized. Those are 2 things you do not want to see, especially in a position like inside linebacker, where it usually takes guys 2 or 3 years to really get the position. But man, he is athletic as all get out, as shown by his numbers at the Combine. And I definitely think he's a draftable guy, probably more round 6, round 7 than anywhere close to day 2, in my opinion. But he's got the tools, he's got the traits, and he also has the experience to potentially be a really good player in the league and quicker than some of these younger inside linebackers coming out. All right, that'll be it for the top 10 list today, guys. My name is Jack Sperry. I am an NFL draft analyst here at Chat Sports. Go ahead right now, give me a follow at Jack_Sperry on Twitter if you haven't already for additional NFL draft content all throughout the 2024 offseason.